I still remember the exact moment everything changed. The bathroom mirror was fogged from the shower, and my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the lipstick. It was my sister's, borrowed without permission, of course. A deep cherry red that looked far too bold for someone like me. Just once, I whispered to myself. I leaned closer to the mirror. My heart was pounding like I'd just run a marathon. My reflection stared back, messy hair, nervous eyes, a 23-year-old guy who had absolutely no idea what he was doing. Slowly, carefully, I pressed the lipstick to my lips. The color bloomed across my reflection. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. I tilted my head, studying the mirror. My face looked different somehow. Softer. Almost unfamiliar. My chest tightened with a strange mix of excitement and fear. "What are you doing?" The voice behind me shattered everything. I froze. The lipstick slipped from my hand and clattered into the sink. Slowly, too slowly, I turned around. My mother was standing in the doorway. And she had seen everything. Her eyes moved from the lipstick, to my face, to the small pile of clothes sitting on the counter behind me. The skirt. The blouse. The wig. Every secret I had carefully hidden for years was suddenly exposed under the harsh bathroom light. My throat went dry. I can explain, I stammered. She didn't say anything. She just looked at me. And somehow, that silence was worse than yelling. Then she sighed. Not angry. Not shocked. Just thoughtful. "Well," she finally said calmly, crossing her arms, "I suppose we need to talk." And that was the moment my life split into two completely different stories. The next morning at breakfast felt like sitting in a courtroom. I couldn't even look up from my cereal. My mother sat across from me, sipping coffee like it was any normal day. Like she hadn't walked in on her grown son wearing half of a makeup attempt and hiding a skirt behind his back 12 hours earlier. My brain had spent the entire night imagining every possible outcome. Disappointment. Anger. Lectures. Maybe even being kicked out. Instead, she had simply said, "We'll talk tomorrow." Which somehow made the waiting even worse. Finally she set her mug down. "So," she said casually, "how long?" I blinked. "How long, what? How long have you been curious about dressing like that?" The question hit me like a spotlight. I shifted in my chair. "I don't know," I muttered. "A few years maybe." She nodded slowly. "And you've been hiding it this whole time?" I stared into my cereal bowl. "Yes." Another pause. I expected criticism. Instead she leaned back in her chair and studied me like she was solving a puzzle. "You know," she said finally, "sneaking around and stealing your sister's clothes is a terrible strategy." I looked up, confused. "What?" "If you're going to explore something about yourself," she continued calmly, "the least you can do is stop doing it like a nervous teenager breaking curfew." I just stared at her. My brain couldn't process what she was saying. She stood up, grabbed her keys from the counter, and headed for the door. "Get dressed," she called over her shoulder. What?" She looked back at me with a small, mischievous smile. "If you're going to do this," she said, "we're doing it properly." An hour later, I was sitting in the passenger seat of my mom's car, wondering if I had accidentally entered some alternate reality. We pulled into the parking lot of a department store. My stomach dropped. "Oh no," I whispered. "Oh yes," she replied cheerfully. "Mom. You're not stealing clothes from your sister anymore," she said firmly. "If you're going to explore this side of yourself, you're doing it with dignity." Before I could protest, she grabbed my wrist and marched me inside. The women's section suddenly felt like the most dangerous place on earth. I kept my head down as we walked between racks of dresses, skirts, and blouses. My mother, meanwhile, looked completely relaxed. "Oh," she said, flipping through hangers. "This color would look nice on you." "Mom," I hissed, my face burning. "People are staring." "They're not." "They definitely are." She handed me a soft lavender sweater. "Try this." "I'm not trying things on here." She raised an eyebrow. "Oh," she said calmly. So you prefer stealing clothes and hiding in bathrooms instead? I opened my mouth, then closed it again. She had a point. 20 minutes later I found myself standing inside a fitting room, holding a small pile of clothes that felt both exciting and terrifying. My mother's voice came through the curtain. Need help with sizes? No. I took a deep breath. Then I looked at the clothes in my hands. A skirt. A blouse. Soft fabric that felt strangely comforting. My heart pounded as I slowly started changing. When I finally stepped out, my mother's eyes lit up. Well, she said thoughtfully, we're definitely going to need better shoes. The weeks that followed were surreal. What had started as my biggest secret had suddenly become an open project supervised by my mother. Every Sunday became practice day. Makeup lessons at the kitchen table. Walking practice in the hallway. Voice training in the living room. At first I was mortified. Relax your shoulders, she would say, adjusting my posture. I feel ridiculous, I groaned. You feel new, she corrected. That's different. Slowly, something unexpected began happening. I started getting better. The nervous shaking faded. My hands learned how to hold a makeup brush. I learned how different clothes changed the way I carried myself. How a simple hairstyle could transform my reflection. And every time I looked in the mirror, that same strange feeling returned. Curiosity. Excitement. A sense that I was discovering a part of myself I had locked away for years. One evening my mom leaned against the doorway while I was finishing my makeup. You know, she said casually, there's a small cafe downtown where nobody knows us. My eyeliner froze mid-stroke. Why are you telling me that? She smiled. Because hiding forever defeats the purpose. My stomach flipped. You want me to go outside like this? She shrugged. Confidence grows through experience. That sounds like something from a motivational poster. Finish your mascara, she said. We're leaving in 20 minutes. Walking into that cafe felt like stepping onto a stage. Every sound seemed louder. Every glance felt magnified. My heart was racing so fast I thought people might actually hear it. My mother ordered tea like it was the most normal outing in the world. Meanwhile I sat there gripping my cup like it was a life raft. A barista smiled politely. Can I get you anything else? My voice nearly disappeared. No, thank you. But something surprising happened. No one laughed. No one pointed. Most people didn't even seem to care. Halfway through our tea, my shoulders slowly relaxed. You're doing fine, my mother whispered. I glanced around the cafe again. For the first time, I noticed something different. I wasn't the center of attention. I was just another person drinking tea. And that realization felt freeing. Over the next few months, those small outings turned into real experiences. Shopping trips, movie nights, walks through busy streets. Each step felt terrifying at first. But every time I survived it, my confidence grew. One afternoon a cashier complimented my sweater. Another day a stranger held the door open and said, "Have a nice day." Small moments. Tiny victories. But they added up. The biggest challenge came when my friend Daniel unexpectedly showed up at a cafe while I was there. He walked past our table, then froze. His eyes widened. Wait. My stomach dropped. Is that? I braced myself. This was the moment everything could collapse. But before I could say anything, my mother leaned forward calmly. Daniel, she said with a friendly smile, meet Alex. He blinked. That is Alex. Daniel looked between us. Then back at me. And to my absolute shock, he laughed. Dude, he said, shaking his head. You clean up better than I do. The tension snapped like a rubber band. I laughed too, half from relief, half from disbelief. That night, something inside me finally settled. Maybe the world wasn't as scary as I had imagined. The real turning point came a few weeks later. I stood in front of the mirror again. But this time, I wasn't shaking. My hair was styled. My makeup was steady. The outfit actually felt natural. My mother appeared behind me in the reflection. "Well," she said softly, "look at that." I studied the mirror. For years I had been afraid of this reflection. Afraid of what it meant. Afraid of what people would think. But now, I just saw myself. A fuller version of the person I had always been. "Do you regret it?" I asked quietly. She tilted her head. "Regret what?" "Helping me." She smiled. "Alex," she said gently, "parents are supposed to help their kids become who they really are." I felt my throat tighten. Even if it surprises them. She laughed softly. "Oh, trust me," she said. "Parents survive much bigger surprises." Looking back now, it's strange how the scariest moment of my life turned into the most important one. The night my mother opened that bathroom door. I thought everything was over. Instead, it was the beginning. I learned something powerful through that journey. Secrets grow heavier the longer you carry them. But the moment you face them, truly face them, they lose their power. And sometimes, the people you fear disappointing the most become the ones who help you stand up the strongest. So if you're watching this and hiding a part of yourself from the world, just remember this. Courage doesn't always start with confidence.